Hurricane Florence is wreaking havoc in southern North Carolina. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says the eye of Florence made landfall there with maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour. The government officials say the center of the hurricane's eye came ashore near Wrightsville Beach at about 7:30 a.m. local time Friday. Although Florence has been downgraded to a Category 1 storm, forecasters say it is still capable of delivering a lethal punch. The National Hurricane Center says Florence is already bringing a life-threatening storm surge and hurricane-force winds to the North Carolina coast. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper warns the storm will have catastrophic effects. Officials say at least 321,000 people are without power in North Carolina. In Craven County, authorities say they have received more than 150 telephone calls from people in the historic town of New Bern asking to be rescued because water has entered their homes. It is the storm's movement and not its strength that has forecasters and officials worried. Florence is trudging inland at 9 kilometers per hour, giving it more time to churn, suck up water, batter the coast, and bring massive amounts of rain inland. Forecasters predict as much as 101 centimeters of rain for some parts of North Carolina and storm surges as high as 4 meters, taller than many houses. Now, for an update on what's currently happening with Hurricane Florence, VOA's Bill Gallo is standing by live via Skype in North Carolina. Bill, first tell us where you are and how things are looking like.
We are on our way to New Bern, where you mentioned there are a lot of boat rescues. We're actually going to try to embed with some of these boats. These are civilians who get their boats out. They rescue people wherever they can. But part of the problem is the storm isn't really moving. You mentioned it there in your introduction. The storm is just staying put. The winds are very heavy. The rain is coming down sideways. And it's really hard to do these boat rescues while you're in such harsh conditions. But when this does sort of move on, the threat isn't over. In fact, maybe the flooding threat has just begun, but they will actually be able to do some of those rescues at that point. I'm actually in an area now, it's sort of like a ghost town. There's not much going on, except right behind me, I don't know if you can tell, there is a Waffle House, a restaurant. It's the only thing in town that's open, and it's sort of where everyone in the community is gathered, and they're getting their breakfast right now, or their lunch, and it's kind of a fun place to be.
Now, Governor Cooper and other officials are still calling on people to get out. Does it mean there are few who are holding down and just saying they will stay regardless of the threat? There
always are some. There always are some, besides reporters like me who refuse to leave. And for those people, the time is running out. The roads are quite treacherous. So one of the main threats right now actually is the tornadoes that can actually spawn off of this storm, or just flying debris. So if people are driving, they're driving slowly. But I'll tell you one thing for sure: the roads are not very crowded.
Mm-hmm. And which would mean that not everybody's going, or perhaps they heeded the call earlier. So what are the worst fears? What are the worst fears from what you hear?
Well, the worst problem now is that this storm is not moving. It's just dumping rain, and it could continue to dump rain for days and days. Now, normally a hurricane is a pretty fast-moving event. It comes, it sweeps through. This is just staying put. And as it continues to stay here and dump rain, the flooding threat really has just begun. If you're comparing this to quarters in a ball game, people are saying we're like about midway through the second quarter. We still have the third and fourth to go.
And the aftermath, any predictions they're making?
I don't think anyone's willing to make predictions, but people tend to make as scary of warnings as they can so that people can evacuate. But right now, it seems the storm is sort of living up to some of its threats. We just don't know what the final is.
All right. Bill, thank you very much for the update, and stay safe, man. We want you back here.
Thank you.
All right. That is Bill Gallo reporting live via Skype from North Carolina.